Emma's heart pounded. Her fingers trembled. She stared at the grainy image on her computer screen. It couldn't be true. Not him. Not after everything they had been through together. The mole, the one who had been leaking information, putting their entire operation at risk, was someone she trusted implicitly. Someone she cared about deeply. The weight of betrayal felt crushing. It was like a physical blow, stealing her breath and leaving her reeling. How could she have been so wrong about someone? The pieces of the puzzle, once scattered and confusing, now clicked into place with devastating clarity. She had suspected something was amiss for weeks. Subtle inconsistencies in reports, whispered phone calls taken in hushed tones. But she had dismissed them, attributing them to stress or fatigue. Now, she knew better. Her mind raced, trying to process this new reality. Who else knew? How deep did this conspiracy go? One thing was certain: she could trust no one, not anymore. Emma stormed into her editor's office, fury burning in her eyes. "You knew!" she accused, her voice trembling with suppressed rage. "All this time you knew, and you said nothing." Her editor, a man hardened by years of chasing dangerous stories, didn't flinch. He sat hunched over his desk, his face etched with a weariness that spoke of burdens carried too long. "Sit down, Emma," he said, his voice low and gravelly. "Let me explain." He told her a story of threats and intimidation, of a family held hostage by unseen forces. He had been forced into a corner, made to betray his principles to protect the ones he loved. He had hoped to find a way out, to expose the truth without putting his loved ones in harm's way, but the opportunity had never arisen. Emma listened, torn between anger and understanding. She knew the risks involved in their line of work, the sacrifices sometimes demanded. But that didn't make his betrayal any easier to swallow. "Be careful, Emma," he warned, his eyes filled with a mixture of fear and concern. "They are watching. They are always watching." Hours turned into a blur of caffeine and code as Emma worked tirelessly to crack the encryption on the files she had recovered. Each line of decrypted text felt like a small victory, bringing her closer to the truth. She could feel the pieces of the puzzle falling into place, revealing a conspiracy far larger and more sinister than she could have ever imagined. The files contained a treasure trove of information: names, dates, locations. She recognized some of the names, powerful figures in the world of politics and finance. The others remained a mystery, shadowy figures lurking in the periphery of her understanding. The deeper she delved, the more convinced she became that she was dealing with something truly dangerous. This was not just a case of corporate espionage or political maneuvering. This was something far more insidious, something that struck at the very heart of her world. One particular file, labeled The Archive, piqued her interest. It contained coordinates and a series of cryptic instructions. Intrigued, she followed the instructions, her heart pounding with a mixture of anticipation and dread. They led her to the local library, a place she had frequented since childhood. Following the instructions, she found herself in a dusty, forgotten corner of the basement archives. A loose floorboard, cleverly concealed beneath a bookshelf, revealed a hidden staircase leading down into the darkness. With a deep breath, she descended, her hand trailing along the cold, damp stone. The air grew heavy with the smell of mildew and decay. Finally, she emerged into a large underground chamber, its walls lined with computers and sophisticated surveillance equipment. This was no ordinary basement. This was a hidden bunker, a clandestine nerve center for... what? Exhausted but exhilarated by her discovery, Emma returned home. She pushed open her apartment door, her senses immediately assaulted by a scene of utter chaos. Furniture was overturned, books and papers strewn across the floor. Her apartment, once her sanctuary, now resembled a war zone. And then she saw it. Scrawled across her living room wall in what looked like blood-red paint, a single chilling message: "Stop digging or you will be sorry." Fear, cold and sharp, shot through her. They had been here. They knew she was getting close, but instead of deterring her, the threat only strengthened her resolve. They had underestimated her. They had made her angry. And now she would make them pay.